And now it's time for a preview of an upcoming game by Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, today we're taking a look at a game on Kickstarter called Codinca. Codinca basically means in the rainforests of the Yucatan, you are exploring and you find this temple with these different symbols on. You're with another group of explorers and you're both trying to match the symbols and get them in the right spot. This is the theme, of course, that's kind of laid on here to have an abstract game of sorts, where you are moving and shifting patterns of tiles, trying to get them into the patterns that you secretly know what they are, but your opponents do not. Let me show you how the game works. As with all my previews, remember the components in this may not be final. This is not to show you the final components of a game, but more to show you how the game works, although this is a pretty nice prototype. At the beginning of the game, each player has a certain color that they have out here, and the color also has a symbol on it, and you can see each player has 4 tiles with the same symbol on them. 2 of the tiles are turned to their stone side up, and 2 are with the gold side up. Each tile is stone on one side and gold on the other. So you set it up like this so that the game is fair. Each player also will get a certain number of luck tokens. Say in a 4-player game, players will get 5 luck tokens that they have. Each player will also get 1 disc from 4 different piles. These discs show a set of 4 squares and a cube, 4 diagonal, 4 corners, and 4 in a straight line. Each of these shows that some mixture, either they're all stone or all gold like these 4, although sometimes it may be a mixture, like for example this will show 2 stone and 2 gold. Players also have 1 trap tile that they will place in front of themselves, and then the game begins. On a player's turn, they must take one of their tiles. So let's say I'm green, this swirly thing here. You must take one of your tiles and switch it with an adjacent tile. So I can take this tile and switch it with this one, this one, this one, this one, or this one. Adjacent is diagonal in this game. So let's say I switch it with this one. And then I'm allowed to flip any tile on the board. I can flip one of the 2 I just switched, which I'll do in this case. Or I could flip someone else's tile, not a problem. So the next person on turn, let's say it's red, they could not switch those back right away. You're never allowed to reverse what the person who just moved did, although you can do it later on, or the next player could change it. So they might do something like they might move these 2, and then they flip this one over here. And it keeps going around, and on my turn, I flip these 2 and switch those 2 and flip the 1 to gold. I now have 4 gold diagonally, which is what this tile shows. So I show that I finished that tile and it's matched. And I turn that over, and once I get all 4 of these tiles turned over, I've won the game. So once I have a diagonal, then I need to get a straight, or I need to get all 4 corners, or I need to get them in a group of 4 blocks. Now, there's a couple things. First of all, you can spend these luck tokens when you win on your turn. And each luck token gives you a pile of actions that you can do. For example, you can push a whole row like this and move that. You can switch 2 pairs like this, moving 2 pairs. You can rotate a block like this. Clockwise or anti-clockwise. You can do a lock. This is a lock token, and you can place it on a spot on the board, locking that whole row or whole column or the tiles that are adjacent to it for 1 whole round. There's also, you can flip a whole block of tiles, or flip a whole line of tiles, or take an extra move, or rewind. But you have to spend a luck token to do that, so you have to know when to do these. You also have this trap token. You're allowed to flip the trap token. You don't know what the trap token will do, and it will change all the blocks on the board to this. So this will change all of them to stone. But this one might change some of them to gold and some to stone, and there's different combinations and patterns you don't know. It's kind of like a thing of last resort, and when you flip the trap token, you also remove this lock token if it happens to be somewhere. So that's how the game works. It plays, I mean, obviously it's going to play differently strategically with 2 or 4 players or 3, but the rules are the same, except the number of luck tokens is different. Now you can finish these patterns in any order you want. You can do the diagonal first, or you can do the group of 4 first, or the 4 corners first. It doesn't really matter. And it gets harder as the game goes by because it's pretty easy to complete your first pattern because there's 4 different patterns you can do and you can move your tiles in that way. As time goes by, your patterns get harder and your opponents will be deliberately trying to stop you while at the same time advancing themselves. Gameplay is not very long. Half an hour is the longest I've seen so far, and it's very straightforward. Knowing when to use those luck tokens is really the key to the game because they're very powerful. You can do some pretty cool stuff, but if you waste them at the beginning doing some easy setup stuff, you'll regret it later on when you really need them. The trap thing is kind of a crapshoot, but if it can really help, and at least it can reset the board if you think your opponent is about to win. The game plays a little differently with 2 than it does with 4. I think it might be best with 4. But either way, the whole thing's really easy to teach and set up. I mean, I could teach this to you in less than 5 minutes, and we could be set up and running very easily. And while it's pretty simple and there's not much luck other than the tiles that people have, you'll find that tactics will grow as games go by. So, if that sounds interesting to you and you'd like to back this project on Kickstarter, in just a moment we'll show you a link where you can back Codinca and beat your friends.
Thanks for watching our review today. For more information about board games, as well as the #1 board game audio podcast, check out Dicetower.com for reviews, interviews, and more. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.